Well, good morning. Welcome to Change Your Life. Today I'm going to talk about this book. This book is powerful. It's called Called to Be Men. I'm going to start off with saying something. I was listening to Boss Rutan this morning, and he had said something, and I paraphrased it and basically just wrote a note. And it says, "Whatever overcomes a man, to that he becomes a slave." And then, what kind of man do I want to be? I want to be a man that can overcome his weaknesses, vices, and imperfections. A man who is not a slave to his passions, emotions, and desires, but a man who is in control of himself. And then in America, we always have the thought of, well, I got a lot of this freedom. I can say whatever I want. I can do whatever I want. I can just be whatever I want. The problem is, doing whatever I want is not freedom. Doing what I was made to do is freedom. So I was going through this book, and I've read it like 3 or 4 times because this book has absolutely changed my life 100%. It's not even a joke. And I wanted to read the little introduction to you because I think that just kind of briefly going over what this book is about is going to give you an idea of the next, couple weeks of actually going through this book that we'll do together. Normally, my channel is me being very politically driven. I've sat back and said, we got to fight politics, we got to fight corruption, we have to fight the system. But a lot of times when you do that, as a man, you start getting super distracted. Look, I can go after courts, I can go after lawyers, I can go after police, I can go after disparage this, that, I can go after all these different political things. The problem really comes out that we don't actually go after ourselves. We're always looking at, how do I fight that? How do I fight that? How do I fight that? Not, how do I become this? How do I become something better? How do I go after what God's called me to be? So I'm going to read this, and then you guys can just join with me. And over the next couple weeks, this channel is going to be going over this book. I know I've got so much education in going in and out of court, dealing with speeding tickets, traffic tickets, licenses, and blah, 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 blah. There's all kinds of stuff that I've done. But I really know that there's a lot of men out there that just don't know how to be a man. They don't know what it's like. They don't understand it. They didn't have very good role models. They didn't have really good anything. So, yeah, just want to help you guys. I want to be a man that you guys can call, you can talk to. You'll be able to reach out to me. I have a YouTube channel. You can comment on it, and you can just say, "Hey, man, can I touch base?" And I'll give you my email. So it says, "Okay, man, I know what you're thinking. Why should I read this book? What's going to be in it that I haven't heard before? I really don't need another guilt trip on not being a real man. Many of you, like me, have done the Promise Keepers. A lot of us have. Sat through dozens of Father's Day sermons and listened to hours of family help radio or YouTube channels or old DVDs or CDs, and watched instructional stuff with our spouses to tell us how to have a better marriage or even how to be just a better man. Likewise, many of you, like me, have walked away inspired and ready to make big changes in our lives. Yet a couple months down the road, the inspiration has waned and the changes that we should so be readily pledged to undertake are forgotten, and our resolve has faded away. Why did this happen, and what went wrong? Men, we've been honest enough with ourselves to acknowledge that we are not really sure what we're going to do. We know our culture and society is in desperate need of really good men. Husbands and fathers, we desperately want to be those men. Yet, after all the great material and motivational get togethers, we still feel clueless on how to rebuild ourselves, our families, our communities, and our nation. If you're like me, you have felt let down and sometimes helpless. The self-talk kicks in. What's wrong with me? Am I really that screwed up? I promise you. Okay, this is the promise in this book. This book and the Call to Be Men course, which there is a course, it's fantastic. I've taken it a bunch of times. I was asked to teach it. I moved to Missouri. I'm not in Montana anymore, so it will It will take you beyond inspiration and motivation. It provides truth and instruction that goes beyond tips and challenges. No guilt trip involved. Just honest understanding and empowering good news. This book is about rediscovering God's long-established biblical pattern for becoming a man and showing you how to walk in that pattern. It provides you not only with knowledge, but the purpose for his plan for you, the one that was filled with success and good. He's created a perfect path for you to walk in the amazing journey to become not just a good man, because good is so subjective. Like what I call good, you might not call good. So the bar, the measuring rod of good is such a low standard that the Bible even says nobody's good, because good is so, it's a far-fetched idea. Oh, that's a good man, that's a good man. But then in his family, people are like, dude, that guy sucks. Like, he's super abusive, he's super crazy, like he flies up the handle. And then in public, he's like, oh, look at how good he is, he's amazing. And you're like, that's not the same guy. So good is really just really terrible. It's a bad word to use. It's just terrible. He has established a way to pass the path onto your sons and grandsons. I got a buddy of mine, and before I continue, I have a buddy of mine who said, I didn't ask my son for perfection. Never asked him for perfection. I asked him to give me his best, to give me excellence. And I always say, excellence of execution. When I send out an email, I proofread it. I have my wife read it. I make a note, like I'll use notepads and on my computer, and I'll write the whole thing down, because I want to make sure that when I send the email, I'm not sending it based on my emotional state at that time. I'm thinking, if the guy opens his email and I'm asking him to buy some of my automotive products or buy some of my stuff, I'm also in the agricultural business. I want him to, he's got a frustrated day, he's angry, he's upset, something happened at work. I want him to open my email and he'll be like, oh, good, it's not one of those other stupid selling emails. I want him or her to open the email and say, yeah, I know what's going on. I want to get connected. I've had a bad day. I've had a great day. It doesn't matter what kind of day. I want that email to connect to that person and them get excited to talk to me. There's so many things that you can get bombarded with every single day. And that's not my goal. My goal is never to bombard somebody. So I listened to him, and he said, I never asked my son for perfection. I asked for excellence. And in so doing, he's raising his standard and saying, I can be better. I can be better. I can be better. I have a daughter, and she's 8 years old. She started driving my car when she was a little girl, like 3 or 4. And I always asked her, what's your best? And so she'll get in the car, she'll sit on my lap, she'll put the seatbelt on, and we're going down the country road. We live miles outside of a city, and we're down a country road. She puts the seatbelt on. She makes sure the mirror is correct. She's doing all these things. And she's going over a checklist, and she's going in her head, and she's talking to me. I got to check, look at it. And I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. She's like, no, but this is like, I'm going to give my best effort to make sure that not only are we safe, but that I've practiced enough to when I actually do get on the road, I'm way ahead of everybody else. I'm far past everybody else, because we've got a lot of bad people that are like, they wait till they're like 16 to learn how to drive a car. And I'm like, you should probably learn early, because it's a big machine and you can kill somebody. So she's always coming, hey man, can we wash the car? Can we take care of things? I'm going to go make sure the stereo is working good. I want to help my dad do this, that, and the other. We're going to change the oil together. And it's not because she has to, it's because she wants to. She wants to show me that she's giving her best effort. And so I'm going to go over this book with you guys, because I want you to understand that men don't have to be perfect. But it really robs us. It robs me, it robs my kids, it robs the future, it robs the grandkids of an ability to show them that excellence is far better than perfection. Because we'll never be perfect. We'll never reach perfection. But we can give it our absolute best. And in giving it our absolute best, we're going to rise to the occasion. So when somebody calls upon us, they know I'm calling upon somebody that actually wants to be a shining example. And I trust that person. Not just a good dude, not a good guy, but somebody that's actually going to give me their best. So, um, my challenge to get you to read this book, let's be honest, very few everyday men actually sit down to read a book. Most guys claim they lack the time to read. Some have poor reading skills to avoid it. Others simply do not enjoy reading. That's absolutely true. Any excuse, if you really want an excuse, any excuse will do. I appreciate it when these men honestly tell me they would rather hear a sermon, listen to a CD, or take a course of instruction. I encourage them to find a method that will open their lives to wealth of good instruction found in books for any area of their lives, which is true. Reading is awesome. It's so fun. Watching kids' lives change because they come up with stuff, asking them to write you a story, reading and write, just all of that dynamic that's involved in taking the creative out of your head and putting it on paper, and then also taking what somebody's creativity out and putting it in yourself and having it change you is dynamic. And if you're not giving and receiving, you're just living in this lukewarm, mediocre. I'm not close to the fire to get hot enough to where I can really wash, and I'm also not far away from the fire where I'm cold enough where I can refresh. I encourage them to find a method that will open their lives to a wealth of good instructions. A couple of my buddies have become so motivated to learn that they now ask their wives to read books with them. My wife is a reader. She is amazing. It's kind of a couple thing, something they can do together. I admire these men. Not only did they take initiative and responsibility for gaining instruction they knew they needed, but they chose a means that required guts. They actually wind up talking to their wives about what they have read together. Now that's encouraging. Courage is exactly what is needed, and now's the time. We're at a serious crossroads in the culture and society in the United States. Nearly 25 or 36%, 25 million of our children live in fatherless homes. These children comprise 63% of youth suicides, 93% of homeless children, 85% of children diagnosed with behavioral disorder, and 85% of our youth in prison. That's a tremendous amount. Yet it's not just these children and their mothers that we need to be concerned about. There are millions of children with their biological father in the home, yet he is emotionally and spiritually absent from their lives. Dad knows he needs to be there, but hasn't a clue on how to be a good dad or a good husband. Confronted with the enormity of the void, he instead throws himself into work or sports or anything that can figure out how to do well and personal prosper. The result is heartbreaking. Our children are not healthy and happy. They are instead lost and confused. They're looking for security, direction, validation, and blessing from a father that is no longer there for them. In anguish, they seek for the things elsewhere, and the path they take often leads to their own destruction. Is this really our fault, men? Yeah. Did we receive any of these things from our own fathers? Unfortunately, most of us did not. Very typical, and neither did they. Dare I say, both the abandoning father and the clueless, but still at home man are just plain scared. We should be. Our own misgivings are terrifying in themselves. In addition, we are bombarded by the endless voice of talk shows, music videos, magazines, internet articles, sermons, conferences, and idle conversations at work. All of these voices are giving their opinions, ideas, and instructions on being a real man, husband, and father. How do we know what's right? To make matters worse, there's a huge void of good role models via the internet industry, like The Simpsons, Family Guy, American Dad. Come on, give me a break. The non-animated versions of Family Life aren't much better. Are you serious, America? It's as if we're giving men in this country license to be idiotic, self-absorbed, inconsiderate, obnoxious, and virtually incapable of providing wisdom, love, and guidance to their families. I can't even watch these programs. They turn my stomach and grieve the Spirit of God within me. As I look at these men around me, both in and outside of the church community, I see increased confusion and a deeper fear of yet worse. An acceptance of failure. Ignorance and apathy are acceptable counterfeits that have lulled us to sleep. Man, it's time to wake up. In our current culture, guys, we've been set up to fail. Thus, we need to call to courage. So as we go through this book and stuff like that, I'm going to be talking to you guys. I'll tell you about life experiences and blah blah. We'll just live together for the next couple weeks. But I want to encourage you guys. I'm not trying to beat you up. I want to tell you that I'm going to help you rise. I'm going to help you stand up. There's not a lot of guys in this world that want to set an example, that actually want to partner with you. They want to sell you stuff, do things like, give me all your money, do all your stuff. I don't care. I have a great income. I've got a great family. But I know that men out there, not all of them have what I have. And not all of them have fought for what I fought because they don't know how. And they don't know where to start. They don't know what to do. It's like going to a boxing gym and just walking around. And coaches are yelling at you, hey man, come on. Let's go over here, do some jumping jacks. Let's do some rope. Let's hit the heavy bag. And you're just walking around kind of in a lull. Because you never had anybody to stop you and tell you, okay, here's the first steps. We're going to start learning how to sweat. We're going to start learning how to count. All we're going to do, we're just going to throw a quick jab. That's it. So that's where I'm at. I just want to tell you guys I love you. And I'll be here. Feel free to comment in the video and then ask me questions. And you can email me. It'll be really easy. So I'll see you tomorrow.